Good evening. It is now 6:30, and let me adjust this. I would like to call to order the Board of Library Trustees regular meeting. Today is Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, and we will now have our call to order and our roll call. Secretary DiLorenzo, may we have our roll call?
Yes. Trustee Cox? Here. Trustee DiLorenzo is here. Trustee Nealon?
Here.
Trustee O'Keefe?
Here.
Trustee Senate?
Here.
Trustee Summer is not here. And Trustee Fishman?
Here. All right, thank you. We'll now move on to the Secretary's certification of membership of the Wilmette Public Library Board of Trustees.
As Secretary of the Board of Library Trustees of the Wilmette Public Library District, I certify and confirm that following the April 1st, 2025 consolidated election, the current membership of the board are the following 7 elected officials: Eric Biederman, Renee Cox, Maria DiLorenzo, Joan Fishman, Jennifer Moman, Matthew Thomas Pasco, and Carolyn Sennett. We will now proceed with administering the oath of office to our 3 new members, Eric Biederman, Jennifer Moman, and Matthew Thomas Pasco.
All right, so we'll have you go to the center here.
I can.
Yeah.
Eric, would you like to step up to the microphone? Okay. And please repeat after me. I, Eric Biederman,
I, Eric Biederman,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of the Library Trustee
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Library Trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Thank you.
Where are we going now?
I think you just sit back. And Jennifer? I, Jennifer Moman,
I, Jennifer Moman,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of the Library Trustee
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Library Trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
I, Matthew Thomas Pasco,
I, Matthew Thomas Pasco,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of the Library Trustee
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Library Trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we will ask the new trustees to take their seats at the table.
Jennifer, this is you.
Thank you. Trustee DiLorenzo, may we now have a roll call, please?
Yes. Trustee Biederman.
Here.
Trustee Cox. Here. Trustee DiLorenzo. Here. Trustee Fishman.
Here?
Trustee Mullen.
Here.
Trustee Pasco.
Here.
Trustee Senate.
Here. Wonderful. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for serving. We now will have the report of the nominating committee, and trustees Cox and trustee Senate were appointed. And trustee Cox will now present the slate for the Board of Officers for President, Vice President, Treasurer, and Secretary, as recommended by the nominating committee for fiscal years 2025 to 27. And they'll serve from May 20th, 2025 to May 2027. Thank you.
On behalf of the nominating committee, we are recommending the following slate for fiscal years 25 through 27. For the office of Board President, Trustee Fishman. For the office of Board Vice President, Renee Cox. For the office of Board Treasurer, Eric Biederman. And for the office of Board Secretary, Maria De Lorenzo.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. May we now have a motion to approve the slate of officers as presented by the nominating committee?
I move approval of the slate of officers as presented by the nominating committee.
Thank you. And is there a second, please?
I second.
All right, we now have a motion from trustee DiLorenzo and seconded by trustee Senate. May we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Trustee Biederman.
Does it say here? What-
You say yes or here?
Here.
Mhm.
Trustee Cox.
Yes?
Trustee DiLorenzo. Yes. Trustee Fishman.
Yes?
Trustee Mullen.
Yes.
Trustee Pasco.
Yes.
Trustee Senate.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion approved. We'll now move on to public comment. Any meeting attendees who have signed the visitor public comment registration form and who wish to address the Wilmette Public Library Board of Trustees may do so here. Please.
Good evening.
Microphone.
I'm sorry to bring a little bit of Mother Nature inside with me. I apologize. Welcome to the new trustees. Thank you very much for your time and all of your efforts, and I'm sure your talents that you'll put to work for us in the community. Thank you to all of the exiting trustees for all your hard work. I'm Bob Lepkowski. I've lived here for 29 years, and I'm here to support the staff and their decisions about what collections should be available to the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, we'll now review a draft of the April 15th, 2025 regular board meeting minutes. Any additions or corrections? All right, seeing none or hearing none, may we have a motion to approve the April 15th, 2025 regular board meeting minutes as presented?
I move approval of the April 15th, 2025 regular board meeting minutes as presented.
And is there a second?
I second.
Okay. Thank you. We now have a motion by trustee Cox and seconded by trustee DiLorenzo. Secretary DiLorenzo, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Trustee Biederman.
Yes.
Trustee Cox.
Yes?
Trustee DiLorenzo, yes. Trustee Mullen.
Yes.
Trustee Pasco.
Yes.
Trustee Senate.
Yes.
Trustee Fishman.
Yes. Thank you. Motion to approve the April 15 regular board meeting minutes has passed. Any presentations this evening? All right. Thank you. Seeing none, we'll now move on to the treasurer's report. And now we have Treasurer Biederman.
Thank you. I
Welcome.
have, so I have reviewed the financials as presented to us in our packages, along with information from the meeting a couple weeks ago. And just getting a good handle on these financials, it's probably important to note that we're 10 months into the fiscal year. So the big picture really is that in the general fund, our income is 103% of budget, and our expenses are 78% of budget. And then on the total for the two combined, the income is 108% of budget, and the expenses are 80% of budget. Now, it's my opinion that the objective is to use the budgeted expenses. So, but I would project that we're probably going to be about 98 to 99% of expenses when the fiscal year ends. Not everything lines up with, we're on a cash basis, not an accrual basis, so not everything's going to line up exactly where to look at 1 month versus the next. I don't know if it's necessarily the best comparison, because you're going to have cash flows that are a little bit different. But at least when it comes to 10 months in, we're kind of where the current fiscal year was budgeted. The CDs I've reviewed and will continue reviewing with Sandra, and probably also similar to note that the CDs accrue on a daily basis. So they're going to pay their interest in different time periods. So where it looks like you made a lot of money in 1 month and not a lot in another, you actually made exactly the same in every month because it's on an accrual basis. For reinvestments, interest rates are projected to go down 50 to 25 basis points this year. So as we have some things reinvesting before the rate cut, it would be good to do that while we can, but that's completely out of our control. The check activity does point out some of the I would say some of the more unique expenses, the ones that don't occur as either they're a little bit more unusual or they're larger. And then we had a supplementary email that gave a lot of color on what some of these other expenses were, especially for some of us who are new, who may not be as knowledgeable about the names of the vendors and what they specifically are. So that was very helpful. And so I'm going to, before the next meeting, meet with Sandra to try to review our balance sheet and see where our expenses are, and just to get a better hand. But I think that 10 months in, we're just about where it was budgeted on the expense side, and slightly more on the income side, which won't always be that way, but accept it when you get it. So that's what I have.
Nicely done. Thank you very much for the first time out, and will be very well. Thank you. Any questions for Trustee Biederman? All right. Good. All right, then we'll move along. And is there a motion to accept the bills and salaries, check detail for April 2025 as presented?
I move approval of the bills and salaries check detail for April 2025 as presented.
Thank you, Trustee Senate. Is there a second, please?
I second.
Oh.
Several seconds.
Okay. Thank you. Trustee Pasco. Thank you. Trustee DiLorenzo, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Trustee Biederman?
Yes.
Trustee Cox?
Yes.
Trustee DiLorenzo is yes. Trustee Mulman?
Yes.
Trustee Pasco?
Yes.
Trustee Senate?
Yes.
And Trustee Fishman?
Yes, thank you. Motion for bills and salaries, check detail for April 2025 as presented has passed. Thank you. We now have our action items, and we will now have our resolutions, and we are delighted to honor our trustees, Trish Nealon, first and I'll be happy to read that. All right. Should Trustee Nealon stand or, no, okay. So this is Resolution 2425-218, resolution honoring Trustee Trish Nealon. Whereas Trish Nealon was elected to the Wilmette Public Library Board of Trustees April 2021 and has served for 4 years. And whereas Trish's interest in the library has been evidenced in numerous areas, including service and active participation on the Policy Committee and monthly reporting on ILA activities. And whereas Trish served and participated as a member of the Intergovernmental Cooperation Committee and contributed to the compilation of mental health resources for use in the village-wide Wilmette campaign. And whereas the board deeply appreciates Trish's loyal service as a board member and an effective voice supporting the essential role of the public library in the community. It is therefore resolved that for reasons enumerated and for other qualities too numerous to recount, the board thanks Trish Nealon for her service and acknowledges that her presence on the board will be greatly missed. And further resolved that the president of the board is authorized to present resolution number 2024/25-218 to Trish Nealon. Thank you. Now we have our resolution 2020. Oh, vote. Thank you. All right. We now have, we will ask for a motion to approve Resolution 2024-25-218, honoring Trish Nealon as presented. Is there a motion to approve?
I move approval of resolution number 2024-25-218, resolution honoring trustee Trish Nealon as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second?
Thank you. The motion has been moved by trustee Senate and approved by, seconded by trustee DiLorenzo. Trustee DiLorenzo, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Trustee Biederman?
Yes.
Trustee Cox?
Yes.
Trustee DiLorenzo, yes. Trustee Mulman?
Yes.
Trustee Pasco?
Yes.
Trustee Senate?
Yes.
And Trustee Fishman?
Yes. Thank you. Motion passed. We'll now move on to resolution number 2024-25-219, the resolution honoring trustee Marianne O'Keefe. Whereas Marianne O'Keefe was elected to the Wilmette Public Library Board of Trustees in April 2025 and has ably served for 4 years. And whereas Marianne's interest in the library has been evidenced in numerous areas, including her active participation on the Finance Committee, as well as her service as the elected board secretary and vice president. And whereas Marianne's hospitality and interest in the camaraderie of library board members has been admirable, as evidenced in coordinating a thank you reception for current and past board members and patrons. And whereas the board deeply appreciates Marianne's loyal service as a board member and as an effective voice supporting the essential role of the public library in the community. It is therefore resolved that for reasons enumerated and for other qualities too numerous to recount, the board thanks Marianne O'Keefe for her service and acknowledges that her presence on the board will be greatly missed. And further resolved that the president of the board is authorized to present resolution number 2024-25-219 to Marianne O'Keefe.
Can we comment and just say,
Absolutely.
I just want to say a personal thank you to you, Marianne, again, for your hospitality when I came on the board, and you had been a current board member, and I've learned so much from you, and your careful attention to detail, and that the community has been really, really lucky to have you as a member of the board the last 4 years. So I just wanted to personally say thank you.
And I'll also say thank you, Marianne. We've known each other through Friends of the Library and now as fellow board trustees. Thank you so much for all your time and energy and dedication. We now will ask for a motion to approve resolution number 2024-25-219, resolution honoring trustee Marianne O'Keefe as presented. May I have a motion?
I move approval of resolution number 24-25-219, resolution honoring trustee Marianne O'Keefe as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay. We have the motion by trustee Mulman and seconded by trustee Biederman. Trustee DiLorenzo, may we have a roll call,
Yes.
please?
Trustee Biederman?
Yes.
Trustee Cox?
Yes.
Trustee DiLorenzo, yes. Trustee Mulman?
Yes.
Trustee Pasco?
Yes.
Trustee Senate,
Yes.
and Trustee Fishman.
Yes. Motion passed. We now have resolution number 2024-25-2220, the resolution honoring trustee Tracy Summer. Whereas Tracy Summer was elected to the Wilmette Public Library Board of Trustees in April 2021 and has ably served for 4 years. And whereas Tracy's interest in the library has been evidenced by her numerous areas, including her service as the elected board treasurer and active participation as chair of the Finance Committee. And whereas Tracy served and participated as a member of the Intergovernmental Cooperation Committee and contributed to the compilation of mental health resources for use in the village-wide Wilmette campaign. And whereas Tracy served as the board liaison to the Friends of the Wilmette Public Library Board, as well as a volunteer to the Friends Bookstore. And whereas the board deeply appreciates Tracy's loyal service as a board member and as an effective voice supporting the essential role of the public library in the community. It is therefore resolved that for reasons enumerated and for other qualities, too numerous to recount, the board thanks Tracy Summer for her service and acknowledges that her presence on the board will be greatly missed. And further resolved that the president of the board is authorized to present resolution number 2024-25-220 to Tracy Summer. May we have a motion, please? Is there a motion to approve?
I move approval of Resolution 2024-25-220, resolution honoring Tracy Summer as presented.
Thank you. And is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. We have now the motion from trustee Biederman and seconded by trustee Senate for resolution honoring trustee Tracy Summer as presented. May we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Trustee Biederman,
Yes.
Trustee Cox,
Yes.
Trustee DiLorenzo, yes. Trustee Molman,
Yes.
Trustee Pasco,
Yes.
Trustee Senate,
Yes.
and Trustee Fishman.
Yes. Thank you. Motion passed. And I would just like to say that we all really come to appreciate and thanks Tracy. I don't know if you're watching tonight. Tracy could not be here tonight, but we really thank her detail and her care and concern and her dedication as treasurer. So thanks, Tracy. All right, thank you, everyone. Moving on, we now have ordinance 2024-25-214, ordinance setting the schedule for regular meetings of the board. Director Austin, would you like to?
Sure. This is a procedural ordinance that establishes the regular meetings of the Board of Library Trustees. The board traditionally meets on the third Tuesday of the month at 6:30 p.m. here in the Wilmette Public Library Auditorium. And the ordinance is prepared in the packet, and you will see that we've also have a cover sheet that shows how we've confirmed that the board meeting will not conflict with any of the major holidays.
All right. And thank you very much for that explanation. And the packet lists the dates and always the third Tuesday of the month. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 2024-25-214, the ordinance setting the schedule for regular meetings of the board as presented?
I move approval of ordinance number 2024-25-214, ordinance setting schedule for regular meetings of the board as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay. Motion by trustee Pasco and seconded by trustee Biederman. May we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Trustee Biederman,
Yes.
Trustee Cox,
Yes.
Trustee DiLorenzo, yes. Trustee Molman,
Yes.
Trustee Pasco,
Yes.
Trustee Senate,
Yes.
and Trustee Fishman.
Yes, thank you. We've now passed the ordinance number 2024-25-214, ordinance setting the schedule for regular meetings of the board as presented. Next is a annual decision to participate in the public library non-resident services program. And again, Director
Okay.
Austin, please.
There is a state administrative code that requires each public library to make an annual decision whether or not to participate in the state's non-resident fee card program. And if the library elects to participate in the program, it must also establish what the fee structure is for serving these non-residents and how they will pay for their library card. A non-resident card is offered to people who live in an area that is unincorporated or are not served by a public library. Wilmette Public Library's district boundaries are the same as the boundaries of our village. That is not true of every village in the state of Illinois, and therefore that is why this code exists. It is a procedure for us to establish that we would offer such cards to those individuals in the event that they did not live within the boundaries of our district. And so every year we go through this procedure to establish that if we did have a non-resident of our library district who wished to obtain a library card from Wilmette Public Library, this would be the methodology by which we would tax them for the service that we would extend to them for that library card. So the methodology that we have elected to do year over year is called the tax bill method, and that is a method that is most equitable to those of our resident taxpayers. Essentially, it would be the fee would be based off of your tax bill, just as it is for all of our resident taxpayers. This has been a tradition for the library, and so we have a motion prepared for you to allow us to continue with this method.
Any questions?
So there's no changes to this from the year before, correct?
It's 15% of their bottom line tax bill.
That would be nice, but no, that is not.
In a perfect world. Right. All right. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the annual decision to participate in the public library non-resident services program by the tax bill method as presented?
I move approval of the annual decision to participate in the public library non-resident services program by the tax bill method as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
A second.
Motion has been presented by Trustee DiLorenzo and seconded by Trustee Senate. Thank you. Trustee DiLorenzo, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Trustee Biederman?
Yes.
Trustee Cox?
Yes.
Trustee DiLorenzo, yes. Trustee Molman.
Yes.
Trustee Pasco?
Yes.
Trustee Senate?
Yes.
And Trustee Fishman?
Yes. Thank you. Motion passed. All right, moving along. We now have a discussion item that is review of our May 9th, 2025 Finance Committee meeting. It's our working draft for 25-26 working budget, and we will now also schedule the next Finance Committee meeting. So before I turn this over to Director Austin, I just wanted to make a few comments on behalf of the working budget. First of all, Director Austin and staff must be highly commended for working very hard on the budgeting and keeping our commitment to a first-class library with services and resources that our community enjoys and appreciates. The board certainly appreciates that the staff is committed to maximizing resources toward offering innovative services and programming. However, the excellence we enjoy comes with challenges, especially in a fluid financial environment. As we all know, for our own personal homes and village-wide, this includes increasing operational expenses, the changing and competitive labor market, and other factors outside of our control. To this end, we have, in the last number of years, sought outside financial guidance and have conducted annual long-range financial studies, which projects trends for general operations and our planned capital reserve projects. And this also in keeping in line with our fund balance policy of retaining 50 to 100% in reserve of annual operating budget. The staff and board are mindful of expenses and reviewing strategies for increasing revenues. This 2024-25 budget has closely followed this strategy, and most of the budget remains flat or reduced. I might note also at the May 9th Finance Committee meeting, the budget was reviewed by the committee members and moved forward without any additional changes. And that's just a few of my comments, and now Director Austin will elaborate on the budget. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Thank you for the introduction. So I want to summarize a couple details from the meeting on May 9th when we met here to discuss the first draft of the budget. What we're projecting for the current fiscal year, 24-25, is kind of this following summary. So on June 18th, 2024, the board approved the fiscal year 24-25 budget with planned deficit spending of $355,000. The library is currently projecting that the total fiscal year 24-25 expenses will be about 97% of the anticipated budget, while our revenues, as reported by our treasurer a moment ago, have already exceeded our expectations and income projections by about 3%. We currently estimate that the library will close fiscal year 24-25 on June 30th with a balanced budget, with no deficit spending at year end, June 30, 2025. So that's good news. That said, we do have a fund balance policy that has had us doing planned deficit spending for the last couple fiscal years, and that is reflected in our audited financials that are available on our website. So the board discussed these details at our Finance Committee meeting while also making projections and summary of our plans for fiscal year 25-26. So for this year, broadly speaking, for fiscal year 25-26, the library is projecting a $351,000 increase in general fund income. That's about a 5% increase in revenues. That will bring our income up to $6.6 million approximately. That's a 3% increase in tax revenue and additional increases in our investment income, and due to the performance of our circulation with Kenilworth. Our Kenilworth contract will afford us some more revenue as a result of that. The library is also proposing a modest $98,000 increase to general fund expenses this year. That's a 1.5% increase over the current fiscal year. That brings our expenses up to just over $6.6 million. Staff has taken a hard look at our expenses this year. We've gone line item through each aspect of the budget, which is included in the packet, and we've tried to narrow in on a number of those lines while also trying to balance the budget according to contractual obligations and cost of living increases for staff, while also trying to meet our strategic plan objectives. So we are projecting that our expenses will exceed our income by about $100,000 or about 1% this fiscal year. The library is projecting as a result that the general fund balance will then align with our overall fund balance policy. So that's kind of my broad summary. I want to give a little bit of background about our performance, because the performance is really what we're trying to aim towards with this year's budget. So a statistical snapshot of our performance over the course of the last fiscal year is as follows. 85% of Wilmette households have at least one Wilmette library card, and 66% of those cards have been active in the last 6 months. That's a great measure of the library's engagement with the community. Our physical library visits have risen this year by 11%. The total programs offered have increased by 7%, and attendance to those programs has increased by 19%. Our collection size has decreased by 6%, which is intentional. It's actually a good thing. Staff has been working this past year to right-size our collections and to align those collections and present them in a way that is attractive and useful for our community. The combined physical material circulation and digital circulation for the library district has increased by 9% over the last year. Our print circulation was essentially flat, down by about 3,000 items, while our digital circulation is accounting for about 30% of our total circulation. Our subscription research database usage has increased by 5%. Public computer usage has increased by 13%. And our Wi-Fi sessions are down just by 8%, and that's owing in part to the fact that we have adopted a new procedure whereby individuals need to click on an accept page in order to join our network. And our website visits have increased by 5%. So all of our statistical measures are performing strongly. Staff has done a fantastic job in meeting the strategic plan objectives, and we continue on trend with the measures that we've been discussing over the course of the last couple of years, as those metrics I just discussed are all part of Library Journal's former Star Library program, of which Wilmette Library has been recognized as a 5-star library. So in an effort to continue this pattern and to continue to meet the needs of the community, we have presented this budget package that is in your packet. We have aimed, as we were directed by our previous outgoing finance committee and our former treasurer, Trustee Summer, to attempt to balance this budget. I've included some information supplementary to the budget this year, looking back at our levy discussion from last fall. Our long-range financial analyst, Andrew Kim from PMA Network, provided a synopsis for us and a projection of where he thought the library would be at this time based upon trending and past statistical performance. He was indicating that he anticipated that our deficit spend for this year would be about $400,000. And as I said just moments ago, we are projecting with this proposed budget a budget of about a $100,000 deficit spend. So I think we're doing fairly well. We're able to control costs in an effort to try to continue to meet these statistical trends, but we're also seeing some greater performance on our investments, and obviously our work with Kenilworth, as well as the board's action to continue to levy as much as we can and try to capture new construction with our fall levies. So that is kind of what we're talking about broadly with this budget. As you get into the details and looking at it more specifically, you'll note that there are a number of lines that have gone down, a number of lines that have gone up. All of this is in an effort to meet our strategic plan objectives. We are still taking a hard look at this budget right now. It is still very much in a draft form. The first version of this budget was presented in the Finance Committee meeting of May 9th. Following this meeting and the seating of our new officers today, we'll be appointing the new Finance Committee, at which time we'll be coordinating another meeting to go into deeper exploration of the budget and review the second draft of that, looking specifically at the personnel portion of the budget, which comprises approximately 70% of the operations. I'm happy to talk about any of the specific line items of the budget if we want to go through either the income side or the expenses in an effort to help illustrate what we've presented to you this evening. Do I have any questions from the board?
I have more of a comment than a question. And first of all, just to, again, thank you to you and the staff for the careful review of the line items. I think the previous board felt pretty strongly about a balanced budget. We had many conversations about that, and that continued deficit spending in the range of $300,000 a year was not sustainable. And I think at least I was encouraged to see when we at the Finance Committee meeting that the last 2 years, even though there was a large deficit projected, it came in pretty close to balanced. And so I think that was really encouraging. I do have a small concern about the investment performance for the upcoming year, based on some of the things I think we're seeing. And I want to make sure we keep a careful eye on that throughout the year. But again, I know from the Finance Committee meeting, it was evident that you and the staff went through every line item very carefully and considered where you could reduce costs without impacting, with the least amount of impact on the services that are doing really well in meeting the strategic plan. So those are just my comments.
Thank you. Anything else? Well, as noted, we now schedule our next Finance Committee meeting. We'll take a doodle poll for those on the Finance Committee after confirming the new membership, as you mentioned, and this will likely be early June, and therefore vote on this budget on the June 17th, 2025 regular meeting.
So we will discuss this again next month here at this
Right.
meeting. So,
All right.
okay.
Director's report then, please?
Okay,
Dr.
we'll
Weston?
move along to the director's report. The first item I would like to discuss is, well, I've got some exhibits in front of me, and you may have seen this shiny object in front of me, and so I'm going to talk about this shiny object here. This is an award that the library has received. The North Suburban Special Recreation Association has honored Wilmette Public Library with their Advocate of the Year Award. The award recognizes individuals and organizations who have demonstrated a strong commitment to advocating for the inclusion and well-being of people with disabilities within the community. Our community engagement librarian, Sarah Jo Zaharako, developed our partnership with the NSSRA and coordinates field trips with the library for participants throughout the year, providing behind-the-scenes tours and activities tailored to their interests. Sarah Jo, along with shelving manager Patsy DeVono, welcome desk assistant Mary Dorman, and our facilities and safety manager Marcos Levy, received the award at the Shining Stars Award ceremony and recognition banquet on May 2nd. Their recreation specialist, Nick Falter, presented the award and had these words to share, and I'm going to quote what he said at that event. This award is given to an organization that not only understands the importance of inclusion, but actively lives it. It recognizes a partner who has made intentional, thoughtful efforts to ensure that individuals of all abilities feel welcome, respected, and empowered. This year's recipient has truly redefined what it means to be an inclusive community space. From the very beginning, Wilmette Public Library approached NSSRA with a clear purpose: to do better, to serve more inclusively, and to make their space accessible for everyone. What followed was a model of partnership. Together, we've created social stories for both youth and adult participants, designed to help them navigate the library with confidence. They've worked with our ELA program to offer volunteer opportunities and have hosted tailored programming during community outings, making each visit meaningful, educational, and fun. But what really stands out is how they care. The Wilmette Library staff go above and beyond in their preparation, reserving parking spots for our bus, planning ahead for sensory needs, and warmly greeting our participants with genuine excitement. They think through every detail and make sure our participants feel safe and supported, never like an afterthought. Their leadership and staff have created a culture where inclusion isn't just a goal, it's the standard, and it shows. Every time we walk through their doors, we are reminded of what's possible when accessibility is built into the foundation of a place. We love that. It's incredibly validating and rewarding to receive such recognition, and even more significant when those who depend upon our services affirm the authenticity of our values. It's one thing to declare that your space welcomes everyone, and another to be told that you're actually living your values and that your work and intentionality has delivered the desired outcome. We share this recognition with all staff and the Board of Library Trustees who have supported and endorsed our organizational goals to advance inclusion, diversity, equity, and accessibility, to reflect the diverse interests and needs of our community, and to foster an environment of belonging and understanding at the library in our efforts to truly welcome everyone and serve all with courtesy, dignity, and respect. So that is our Shining Stars Award for Advocate of the Year, and we are really proud to share this with you all. On a similar note, the library also received these wonderful thank you notes, and I will distribute these for you all to see.
That's great.
These thank you notes and pictures are from members of the Cove School Volunteer Corps who continue to support our shelving team after many years of partnership. The Cove School was the nation's first school founded exclusively for the education of children with learning disabilities, and it remains a premier school in the field. Our shelving manager, Patsy DeVono, and her team work with our volunteer interns who have expressed their gratitude for the opportunity and experiences that are provided by their time in partnering with the library. And I will say that the feeling is entirely mutual for all of us on staff. We're especially grateful to Aiden, Mia, and Zach for their generosity and support, and it is a sincere pleasure working with them as well. The notes that they provided on these plaques are really quite wonderful, so do have a read through of those as well. So affirming of all the work that we're doing in our strategic plan. All right, so a few highlights from my report this month. The library saw over 22,000 visitors in April, averaging 740 unique users each day. We welcomed 137 new cardholders in April. We circulated over 52,000 unique items, averaging 1,700 items each day. We saw our third highest month of circulation of all time in the Overdrive Libby app in April, with over 20,000 items checked out. And as I said a moment ago, our digital circulation accounts for nearly 30% of our total circulation. A couple highlights from my report. We launched our first major update to the library's app in April after just a few years. And our patrons are responding favorably to the enhancements that are provided by this app, including the ease of access to their library card and account information. One of our community partners has highlighted their relationship with the library this month. The Wilmette Park District has partnered with the statewide library program Explore More to provide area beachgoers with the opportunity to enjoy free admission to the Gilson Swimming Beach, all thanks to the library card. Their new beach-bound library passes will give people access to the beach free of charge by utilizing their local library. You can visit the Park District's website to learn more about the program, which is also accessible via the Explore More and Museum Passes page on the library's website. Further examples of the library's strong and growing community partnerships are included in my written report this month and include our work with New Trier High School, Mather Place Senior Living, and our area preschools and elementary schools. A couple other highlights from my report. Our Youth Services Manager, Andrea Von Johnson, and Community Engagement Librarian, Sarah Josa Harako, presented at the Lead the Way Community Engagement at the Heart of Librarianship Conference in Madison, Wisconsin on April 21st. Their presentation, Let's Learn Together, Creating Infrastructure to Support Safe and Meaningful Programming, provided comprehensive guidelines for planning events that address complex topics and social issues. The session reflected on the development of the library's Let's Learn Together initiative and celebrated 3 successful years of programming that invites curiosity and challenges biases. The presentation was well received, and 37 sets of our Let's Learn Together booklets were distributed to public library workers across 6 states. This year's Let's Learn Together 2025 initiative is focusing on neurodiversity, and our community engagement librarian and our communications manager published the 2025 Let's Learn Together booklet this past month. The booklet is available to patrons both in print and digitally on our landing page. And special thanks to Sarah Rose for her graphic design and Stephanie Boren for her content consultation. Programs in support of this year's initiative include our April 12th Magnificent Minds program and the April 25th Between the Lines All Brains Are Beautiful program that was hosted by our speech and language pathologist Stephanie Boren in partnership with District 39 PTAs and PTOs. I will close by saying that our summer newsletter will be hitting homes later this month and will feature a range of exciting programs and events for this summer, including information about our big summer reading club activities and prizes for all ages, all of this sponsored by our generous friends of the Wilmette Public Library. Our theme this summer is Level Up, and we have a host of game-related programs and activities to keep you engaged all season long. And we invite you to join us for a kickoff event on the library lawn on Saturday, June 14th, as we welcome back the Jolly Ringwalds for an afternoon of music, entertainment, and Kona Ice. So we'll share more about our summer festivities at next month's meeting, but is there anything else that you would like to note from my report or anything that I can address for you?
Wonderful.
Okay.
And while we like to always say, and we do say that the library is welcoming to everyone, a little recognition is always enjoyed and delightful. So,
And it's also a demonstration of the consistency with our mission to be a place that welcomes all. So congratulations.
Thank you.
thank you.
And thank you for your support. Okay, that
Moving
concludes
on.
my report.
Okay, Thank you very much. Committee reports, we'll now, trustee Senate for Rails.
Yes, so there's a lot going on at Rails, but the main thing that everybody is keeping an eye on is the status of IMLS, the Institute of Museum and Library Services. I took some really good notes, but I left them at home, so I'm going to try to piece this together here. So I won't have all the best numbers, but just a reminder. So IMLS, the Institute of Museum and Library Services, provides money to all of the states, and then the states use that money for their museums and libraries. With the state of Illinois, 10% of the Rails budget comes from federal funding. So Rails is the organization that is primarily responsible for our interlibrary loan. Rails also does a lot of other things, including grants to libraries. There's just a whole host of things. There's continuing education, et cetera. But the key piece is this 10% that is for interlibrary loan. So just to review the most basic, on March 14th, President Trump issued an executive order that continues the reduction in staff for federal agencies. One of the 7 agencies named in the order is the Institute of Museum and Library Services, the largest source of federal funding for libraries. The IMLS delivers essential financial support, investigative research, and strategic policy guidance to enhance the work of libraries nationwide. After this, on March 31st, all IMLS staff were placed on administrative leave, and all grants and contracts were suspended. On March 31st, the ALA issued a statement. On April 2nd, members of Congress wrote a letter. Publishers have written letters. On April 3rd, several states, or 3 states, including California, Connecticut, and Washington, received written notifications that their IMLS grants were canceled. So the timing of the grants is the fiscal year 2026 grants were supposed to be paid in April. So 3 states have already been told you're not getting your grants at all. Of the other 47 states, Illinois being one of them, we did eventually get a partial payment of our grant. There were a few lawsuits that were filed. 21 states, the attorneys general filed a lawsuit. Illinois was included in that, and the ALA also filed a lawsuit. And on May 13th, a federal judge did order the Trump administration to immediately reverse the mass terminations of grants and staff at IMLS. So that was good news. The Illinois State Library has been keeping in touch with Rails, and there is a gentleman by the name of Greg McCormick who frequently joins all meetings via Zoom, and he did say that they did receive the partial payment, and that in the Illinois House and Senate, the Secretary's budget had already gone through. So that's all good news. The continuing uncertainty, though, is that the IMLS Act is set to sunset on September 30th, 2025. And Congress does need to reauthorize it, and Congress needs to appropriate the funds. So if that does not happen, well, I guess there won't be an IMLS anymore. So that is what everybody's keeping an eye on right now. That is where any lobbying efforts are focused right now, because it really is up to Congress. So everyone's okay for now, but we don't know what's going to happen in the next few months. So that's the major news. Everything else is not quite as important right now. So that's all I have on that
Okay,
for today.
thank you.
Thank you,
Any
Carolyn.
questions for trustee?
So is it mainly interlibrary loan that would feel the cut? That's where, and there's not really anything else that would?
For our library, yes. it would mostly be interlibrary loan that would be felt. Unfortunately, for a lot of the smaller libraries in Illinois, they are going to feel the cut much, much more. I actually am on the advocacy committee at Rails, and at the last meeting, which was last week, they talked about how a large library, I think we're considered a large library, about 50% of our circulation is through interlibrary loan. I don't know ours specifically, but generally for a larger one. But for the smaller libraries, 90% of the materials that their patrons check out do come from interlibrary loan. They don't have the capacity or the budgets to have very large collections, so they really rely on interlibrary loan. There's also a lot of grants for everything from construction improvements and literacy programs. Those are all funded partially by these federal grants to states, and those are not grants that our library is ever eligible for, but for those libraries that really depend on them, this will still be quite a blow.
So would you recommend calls, contacting your congresspersons to is it helpful in the state of Illinois or other states? There's more of a push.
Well, I'm not sure that as a board member of either entity that I can advocate for people to call their members of Congress. However, I think people are calling their members of Congress on a lot of measures these days, and so this might be one to add to the list if one is so inclined.
Diplomatic, thank you. Okay.
And the American Library Association has an advocacy page that is set up that you would simply enter your address and it will let you know who your representatives are. And it has fillable forms that make it very easy for you to engage in advocacy in support of libraries and museums.
There is another Rails board meeting this Friday, which I will be attending. So unfortunately, because of the timing of it, the meeting's always after our meeting. But whatever happens and whatever developments happen up until our next meeting, I will report on those. And we may know the money that has come through at that point too.
And we have been generously supported by our state librarian and Secretary of State, Alexi Giannoulis. He has committed funds to help continue or to ensure the continuity of services that we're currently enjoying in libraries, but we're not certain how long we'll be able to sustain that level of commitment. But we are enjoying a degree of support, at least in the interim for that. So we're grateful for that.
And that's all Illinois state libraries are enjoying that benefit at this point?
There have been appropriations for that funding, yes. But just for this year.
Well, I think it's and then into next. By the end of the month, we should know. By the end into next year. But we're lucky to live in a state that does support our library system and museum system.
Definitely.
And thank you, Carolyn, for your service on the Rails Board. I will just add that Carolyn is a candidate for a public library trustee in this round, and there is an election that's currently going on at Rails. And each member of Rails gets one vote to cast for all of the candidates in that election. So, good luck in your
Good luck,
candidacy.
yeah. Director Austin, anything from ILA?
I have no report from ILA.
Okay. Carolyn, you're back on the hot seat for Intergovernmental Cooperation Committee. Please.
Okay, so the Intergovernmental Cooperation Committee meets once a quarter. The meeting this quarter is actually in a few days. In the meantime, what has been happening is the group is still getting organized. There were some elections, and so there may have been some different people who are going to be on the committee. As of right now, the topic that has been selected is civility, and the members of the committee who were at the last meeting have been busy gathering resources and sharing them and getting ready to have a conversation on Thursday. So there should be more to report at our June meeting.
Great. Good, thank you. We're passing around the suggestion box input there, so I'll pass the purple folder, and then the, anything on American Library Association, ALA, conference for June 26th, 30th. Do we have staff members attending?
We have a delegate that is going to be attending it, representing
Okay.
Wilmette, yes.
Great.
I'll add another information item. After our last board meeting here in April, in this room on April 22nd, all newly elected officials in the village participated in an orientation program here. Our 3 new trustees were all present for that, and I thank you all for your engagement with that. We had a program hosted by parliamentarian Nancy Sylvester, who oriented all of our new elected officials at the village, District 39, District 37, New Trier Township, and Wilmette Library, on parliamentary procedure as well as boardsmanship. And
It was very informative, very useful.
And we also conducted a second orientation for our 3 new trustees here at the library to understand what their role is and to get a copy of our policies and to go through our finances. And we had a nice orientation as well.
It was very helpful. It was so good, we pushed it to double the time.
We did.
This is true. Couldn't get in, more. Great. All right. Is there any new business? All right, seeing none, we will now call for a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:33.
I move that the board adjourn this meeting.
Thank you, Trustee Di Lorenzo, and this is a voice vote. All those in favor of adjourning at 7:33, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. Motion adjourned. Meeting adjourned, excuse me. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Oh, good.